Monday, everybody, and welcome back to the Couchside Judges. I'm Scott Fontana. Follow me on Twitter at Scott_Fontana.
And I'm Dan Urban. Follow me at The Dan Urban. Follow the podcast at Couchside Judges and subscribe to us wherever you listen.
And if you like this show, give us that 5-star review. It's about time.
And as always, we taught judging in MMA, so head on over to abcboxing.com. Hopefully it's updated and read that criteria.
Yeah, you know, that email that I meant to send out to the ABC and Mike Masuli and all them to note how, hey, we'd be looking for that updated criteria. Didn't happen this week.
All right.
Just completely slipped my mind. I did the show and then I forgot.
That's all right.
That's a good reminder for me. One more thing I can add to my list of many things to do this week. But yeah, I mean, we're coming off a busy weekend, I should say, in the MMA world. At least for anyone who, watched more than just UFC.
Busy Saturday night.
Busy Saturday night.
Yeah, I watched, 13 fights? Yep.
Yeah.
That's all that happened this weekend.
That is not true at all. There was definitely some Bellator, definitely some PFL. It was a very, very busy. And then anyone who cared about boxing, there was a boxing on in the evening.
I accidentally watched like 5 rounds of that.
Oh, sorry. Or congratulations?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it was just on. It was like kind of background noise.
Oh, okay. So you don't.
But I found myself watching it, and I found
I like boxing.
How engaged the referee was, which is what kind of drew me to it a little bit.
Interesting. If I'm not mistaken, I think I heard that Tony Weeks was refereeing the headliner with Teofimo Lopez.
I didn't stick around that long.
I didn't either, but I could swear that I read that somewhere.
All right.
So yeah, there he is. Oh, those boxing judges.
Stupid boxing judges.
Boy. But yeah, I mean, we'll obviously be focusing on UFC as we tend to do, especially because of this guy over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, man, Chito Vera. What can you say about that freaking knockout?
He won. It was a great performance. Well,
that
great
you could certainly say he won. That's not wrong.
Great knockout.
Yeah.
I think he was losing up until that point. He actually was, technically.
He literally was losing
up
until that point?
Was losing.
Yeah.
Dom was fighting a great fight. He just had to avoid that one power shot. And unfortunately, he didn't for whoever was rooting for Dom.
The thing was, he was losing, but he was also gaining momentum. Like, he won the last round. He was winning that round probably up until that point, in my mind, too.
But the thing is, though, he let himself dig a hole.
Oh, sure, absolutely. And this is not really new when it comes to Marlon Vera.
Right.
The first round in particular is always a tough one for him. He's definitely benefiting heavily from getting 5 rounds to work with. This is someone who was built to be in main events.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've seen him come back and have stronger performances in later rounds. We saw him get the finish here. I think when he finished off Frankie Edgar, granted it was the 3rd round, that's still later in the fight that he's kind of building his momentum up for it. This is where he really gets going. And that's going to make him really interesting as he kind of continues to move his way back up in the rankings and the chance to, get that title shot maybe. So I guess the question we ought to be asking here is how likely is it that he's already done enough to be, the man on deck for the bantamweight title, once they get it sorted out next month.
In another division, I'd say, yeah, for sure. But bantamweight is so top heavy as far as you can plug anyone in there and give him a title shot, I think.
I mean, not anybody. Can't plug Dominick Cruz in there.
I mean, you got okay. Well, he was 8 coming in, but you got Merab and Jose Aldo this weekend. The winner of that could have an argument for it.
The winner of that gets tricky though, because if Merab wins, he's not going to fight Aljo.
Yeah, a little drama there. I kind of like
it. He won't do it. I actually just talked to him the other day. That's nothing he's interested in doing. The friendship's too important.
Okay, so Jose, I picked up on that. He wanted to be in every picture. But Jose Aldo, he wins. How are you going to tell that guy no? That's true. Everyone was writing him off not too long ago.
And then there's also the fact that you've got Sean O'Malley going in there against Peter Yan the same night as the title fight between Sterling and TJ Dillashaw. If O'Malley goes in there and he beats Peter Yan and he does it impressively, especially, I mean, how can you really make the case promotionally that they wouldn't do that?
Yeah, I mean, this is like...
I get it.
The booking for this fight is like, you know what, we really held him back so long. Just throw him to the top right now.
I know, right?
And see what happens.
It's a little strange, especially after the last fight where he wasn't necessarily winning that fight, no matter how much he thought he was when he did his stupid little jump shot after poking Pedro Munoz in the eye. I have my thoughts about how that fight might go, and maybe I'll share them later when we get close to that fight. But either way, the fact of the matter is, it's not as cut and dried like you're saying. But I would put it like this. Let's say Merab wins. Let's say Aljo then wins. All we're really talking about then is Marlon Vera and the winner of the O'Malley-Yan fight, right?
Yeah, and I could totally see
and I guess potentially I shouldn't ignore this Henry Cejudo, because he's such a dark horse there. Like
I thought that dried up, but I guess it's possible.
I mean, he's back in the pool if I understand it. Like it seems like he's just looking for literally anyone to fight or to get his name off of. Who knows? I mean, if he's fighting at 35, it makes a lot more sense. Basically, it would come down to, Aljamain Sterling will have at least a little bit of a say in that. If he can kind of make some steam behind that fight and it's a fight he wants, the UFC might do it,
Yeah, so Merab winning really does throw a wrench into things.
It does.
As far as, and then Aljo would have
Merab
to
and Aljo
win. Aljo would have to win as well.
Right. That combination is what really mucks things up. But if that doesn't actually happen, then the options are much more open. So that makes it a lot trickier for Chito. But, to steer it again back to Chito, I do see him being at least, let's put it this way. I think right now he's on deck, but there could be a pinch hitter.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess so.
Just
I mean, I kind of feel, I do. I love baseball, but I kind of feel it's Aldo's title fight to lose. I
think you're right, but he's got to win. Like that's the problem. Is what are you just gonna say? He's already beaten Merab?
I guess. Yeah,
that's the thing. You can't write that in yet. We'll see how that goes this coming weekend. We'll talk a little bit of that fight just a little later. But you put this on here, and I was thinking the same thing. Right, like pretty much right after, because all I'm thinking about is what fight are we gonna get for Frankie Edgar? Right? Is it time to get Dominick Cruz and Frankie Edgar together? Finally, the last chance that we're really going to get for this fight, probably.
The only chance.
It's pretty much the only chance, yeah. As long as Dominick Cruz wants to come back, he wants that fight. I don't know if he wants the fight, or who knows what the heck he wants to really do.
I don't see it happening.
I kind of don't either. But it really is like, we should get this fight, right? We're supposed to get this fight. We're supposed to get this fight.
Yeah, we're supposed to get it.
We should. We deserve it.
We were supposed to get a lot of fights, too.
Yeah, no, I mean, this would definitely be added to. It wouldn't. The problem is, this is a fight that not everyone's been calling for and everything like that, like forever. It's not going to go down as one of those, like, how did they not make it happen kind of things, but, like, it really kind of should, I feel like,
Yeah.
I think you agree.
This would be a great fight.
Yeah.
In our backyard.
And I think it'd be a lot of fun. Like, this is, like, the type of fighter that I want to see Frankie Edgar go against at this point. Someone who doesn't necessarily hit the hardest, someone who can keep up with him movement-wise, but it will also satisfy this, like, champions from 11 years ago thing that I would love, because that's like right around the time I was really, really into the sport, especially as a fan, because I hadn't quite started really covering the sport heavily. It kind of started that year, like later in the year, where I started covering it a little bit more deeply, but at that point I was still much more like fan than some form of MMA media, right? So there's a lot of nostalgia there for me. So I really would love to see that. But yeah, I'm kind of.
Let's hope. I mean, that nose. Hopefully, the nose doesn't need some kind of surgery or something.
That is really the thing that it comes down to. Is will Dom actually be ready in 3 months? And then does he want to? I mean, does he even want to fight again, or is he going to be like, nah, I'm good?
Yeah, I don't know.
And I don't see him being someone who's just going to like hang him up in the cage, and obviously he didn't. But like, I could see him almost just not saying he's done fighting, but like eventually he's just like, yeah, I'm done fighting.
That would be Cruz
in
passing
fashion. Yeah, but there's fighters that do that, man. That's not too uncommon.
There was a little video clip, and I thought, oh my god, he's gonna throw his gloves in the cage here.
I saw him starting to take that off.
Rip the tape off. I'm like, here we go.
I'm very triggered now. But like literally anybody who like reaches for their gloves while they're still in the cage, I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're trying to retire? What's going on? It's like a dog with a bone, right? But yeah, obviously nothing happened there, so I was like, okay, we're all right. I mean, whatever. If he wants to retire, fine. If he wants to keep fighting, that's fine too. I think he's got to know now that the path back to the title is maybe not closed, but just about closed.
The thing is,
it's just about closed.
I think he can still fight. It's his chin. His chin is failing him.
You know what? It's not even so much that. Like, he built his style, and he said this. Like, this isn't some sort of original thought. Like, he said this. He built his style so he'd avoid damage.
Oh yeah.
He really did. Like no one touched him very cleanly most of the time.
So his opponents are just getting better than what he's fought in the past, I guess?
You know, he had a lot of speed and a lot of elusiveness, and that that held for a while. But a lot of time has passed. He was champion 11 years ago. It was even longer ago the first time. But like during his real prime, actually that was, I think 2011 might have been the year that he fought Mighty Mouse Johnson, and then he didn't fight again for another 3 years.
Yeah, actually,
something like that. Back, it was like October. So we're almost 10 years away from that.
When I put this on there, I wanted to see what Dom's shortest turnaround was from his WEC till now. And
His shortest turnaround?
His shortest turnaround.
He fought a couple times in 2011.
But I mean, would he be able to fight in 2 months or 3 months time? That's what I was trying to. Has he ever done this before? And I didn't really find anything too close, but
yeah, I have significant doubts about that. But yeah, it's too bad. But I still hold out hope that there might be a path to Cruz versus Aldo, because that's another fascinating fight.
Well, Mirov's got to win.
Well, obviously, yeah. To make that happen, you actually do need Aldo to lose and then be interested in taking that fight.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Maybe if Aldo, you never know what Aldo's thinking. Like, does he want to keep fighting for a long time? Because he's obviously still at the top of his game. And like you said, Cruz really is too. He got caught, and he's going to get caught more like. The other thing I want to point out with Cruz is I think people are getting a lot more wise to the type of movements he does, like that ducking of the head that he basically that like
his patterns. Yeah.
Chito was even saying like, yeah, someone sent my coach sent me a photo and I knew what to do from there. But like, yeah, it makes sense. There's a lot of things he does that there's more film on him. Fighters have gotten better in general. Coaching has gotten better, so it makes sense. But moving on from Cruz though, there was obviously that co-main event that was just bonkers.
Kind of insane.
You can't deny that it was bonkers. It was crazy. It was a wild fight. Nate Landwehr, David Onama. Was it fun? Was it awful? Or was it awful fun?
It was fun, and then it turned awful. And then it turned awful fun. The final, all right, so it was all seconds. Of them. Yeah, it was all of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Alan Chopan said something in the post-fight at the desk, right, the analyst desk. He was saying something about it being like a classic and maybe like a UFC Hall of Fame fight, and I'm like, no, no. This was a fight between a couple of guys, and it was a fun fight, but like David Onama was so dead tired for a full round, pretty much like the bulk of the last like 10.5 minutes of the fight. He's just like dead tired and somehow still landing
so hard.
And you got Nate Landwehr, who at times is just like, no, you stand up. Like he kind of could have pushed more with offense, and he just chose not to because he wanted it at certain places and certain ways. He wanted the action to go down. And ended up almost costing him the fight because he really could have lost round 3 as a result of his own actions.
So, I don't know what he was thinking.
Weird fight. It was fun. You can't deny how fun it was, but like,
it was. All right. Well, we're gonna talk about that soon.
We will. But just the fact that everyone was kind of fawning over it as like, is this like an instant class? And I'm like, come on, guys. Like, this is very low skill. In terms of UFC.
Yeah, this was.
I'm not saying they don't have skill, but man, this was a sloppy and tired mess. I just had fun doing it, watching it. That's okay. Mm-hmm. That's okay.
It was fun to watch.
Yeah. I think we can admit we enjoy it while also admitting it was kind of a crummy fight at times too. Like in terms of skill, once again.
And on the other hand of things, I don't think Sandhagen Jan deserved as much praise as it got as an all-time classic. Oh,
it definitely is not an all-time classic. It was a fun fight.
Yeah, but on the other spectrum, people were fawning over that like crazy too. So.
Well, yeah. There's the people who really love technique, and granted, it was high level stuff going on, but yeah, I don't know. I wasn't like edging my seat for the duration of the fight in that way. But I also wasn't laughing audibly.
I think I did start laughing.
Yeah,
oh, what is he doing?
Landwehr Onama is kind of like one of those like you laugh out loud because they're like, what is going on? But anyway, one thing I wanted to get to before we kind of spit out some quick stats and get into the contested rounds is one thing that won't be part of contested rounds, and I think it's so much a surprise we actually have to put it here. There were no split rounds in Angela Hill versus Lupita Godinez.
Yeah, I didn't even want to mention her name in this show. I wanted it to be like, wow, we didn't even have to mention it.
No. I think we have to acknowledge it. But now the fact that we somehow managed.
Now she makes the show again.
That's okay.
Yeah.
What do you have against Angela Hill?
I got nothing against it. It's just we always talk about her.
Yeah, but we can just note, hey, we didn't actually have any contested rounds. It was a totally unanimous fight. I didn't get the chance to do research, but I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, when is the last time Angela Hill had a 3-round fight, went the distance, and there was not even a single round that was up for contested rounds.
It could, you know what the thing is, that third round was close, and it could have went unanimous for Loopy, and Twitter would have lost its mind, and we wouldn't even have to talk about it because it was all unanimous.
Yeah,
that was what would have happened.
Do you remember which judges were on that one? Because we could give them a shout out.
I don't remember.
I could pull it up real quick, actually. If we're gonna do that, I might as well just pull that up because it was judges Derek Cleary, Junichiro Kamijo, and Chris Crail. So hey, shout out to them.
Works for me.
Yeah, they're your heroes in this one, sir. But real quick, again, before contested rounds, let's spit a couple of quick little stats out here. You like to share the unanimous round report, right?
Sure.
So why don't you start with UFC?
Yeah, UFC, 19 to 25 unanimous rounds. One of those rounds was a 9-8 split for a 76%.
That's like
Kinda
typically,
on par.
yeah, somewhere in the 73-76% range, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, the level of the judges at California are, top level judges. You kind of expect that. A mix of, some judges we see less of in terms of traveling judges, like Chris Crail was in there as well. But he's worked UFCs before. This is nothing new. Elliot Kelly also got some time, but yeah, I mean, and Aaron Bronsteter pointed this out, and I think rightly so. The way that California does this is very smart. They put 2 veteran judges in there with these guys to give them experience, but alongside some more veteran ones so they can either talk about it or maybe make sure that, hopefully, ideally the more experienced guys will also be in there, right?
But the thing about California is they got events like all week long.
They do. California is so busy, so it's not even the same as like, let's say, Georgia or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
They have some really quality judges there, and I think it showed. This was totally a nice job done overall by the general team there. Bellator, by the way, was in South Dakota. They also got some of the high-quality judges traveling in there. They only had 18 rounds to deal with. 14 of them were unanimous, so 77.8%, just a little higher. And actually, a couple guys ended up working both California and South Dakota. We saw Mike Bell make the flight. We saw...
I'm glad he made his flight.
We saw Jason Herzog doing refereeing both places.
Glad he made his flight as well.
It's always nice when they do that, because right now, well, you know too well, sir. You we didn't really talk about it on air, but you had
not everyone gets to go where they're scheduled.
Not everyone gets to go where they want when they want. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to laugh at you, sir.
Yeah.
And then also a PFL, of course, was in action, and they were over in Wales, so they had some of those great European judges that we see, especially the UK guys in particular, Ben Cartledge, David Lethaby, Darryl Ransom, and Mark Collette. Good foursome right there. And they had 13 out of 20 in agreement. One was a 9-8 split, so the percentage was 65%, just a little below. That's pretty much perfectly normal. So yeah, good job, I think, overall, from a really busy weekend with some really great judges working all over the world.
Yeah, nice job.
Nice job. Let's go to contested rounds. And we're just focused on UFC here. We're only doing what was it, 6 rounds? Six rounds from UFC. And we will start with Landwehr Onama, because it was a majority decision. It did come down to round 3 to decide whether Nate Landwehr won or whether it was a draw. So round 3, sir, what is happening here?
Crazy round, as we alluded to before.
Yes.
Onama is gassed beyond belief, and Landwehr is doing whatever he wants. He's landing strikes. Onama's just falling down. Landwehr's making him get up. Landwehr keeps landing some good shots. I mean, you might be able to stop it at some point. If he keeps going, he's on his way to a stoppage or another 10-8. And then Onama comes to life and just starts blasting Landwehr with a couple really solid rights, like 3 in a row.
I don't know where he had the energy for
who
this.
knows where that happened. And Landwehr's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have let him up here. At some point, Landwehr starts landing shots, and he's back on the ground inside control. Landed some small shots, nothing crazy. And then just stands up and is like, you know what? No, get up. Like, I don't know what the thought process for that was.
This is low fight IQ.
This was like,
very low fight IQ.
I can cruise to what maybe, if I keep doing some damage, either stoppage or maybe another 10-8. But no, I'm just going to let him back up and back into the fight.
Because he's a maniac.
He was showing that.
He's just a maniac.
But since he let him up, Onama comes in and drops him, swarms on him to end the round. I don't think Onama did enough to close the gap, but man, he really did get close to it there.
Oh, he made it super close. So you're saying you ended up on Landwehr?
I ended up on Landwehr 10-9.
I mean, I did too. The short answer is I got there as well. But man, I was really torn because you cannot deny that the highest point of the round was definitely Onama. And he had some other points in the round. It's just he didn't have nearly enough, I think, to make up for just how much Landwehr also was able to do. Now, scoring doesn't work this way, right? You only weigh the effect of what actually happened, right? Mm-hmm. But you almost wish you could penalize Landwehr because he just didn't.
You should be able to penalize him.
But it's not how it works.
But that's not how it works.
Not how it works. We're not going to do it.
It's not. I mean, you just don't get up at a side and just stood up. Like, I'm sick of this position. Let's try something else.
Yeah.
It was wild.
It was bad. That was bad thought there. But we got an even wilder fight as a result of it.
And he had his back turned to him for like a good 10 seconds, it seemed. While Onama was working his way back up to his feet.
But yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with going for Onama here because, again, I was really close to doing it.
He made
really
it close.
I was super close to doing it. And it wasn't just that final, again, it wasn't those final 15 seconds.
No, that mid-round surge that he had.
I saw somebody point out, it's like, oh, how I guess Mike Bell was only paying attention to the last 15 seconds. Like, that's not true at all. That's an oversimplification of what happened in the round.
Another thing that helped me go Landwehr is I thought Landwehr was maybe just a tad bit off balance, and he wasn't that rocked. But the way Onama swarms at the end,
mm-hmm.
and he basically runs out of time. It seems a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. Who would have thought it was David Onama who needed more time in that one?
Yeah,
not less. Man, what a weird fight. But yeah, it was Mike Bell again who had Onama here. You and I agreed with judges Junichiro Kamijo and Derek Cleary, but again, I was really torn, so I have no problem with this one being going either way. If it ended up being a draw, I mean, people wouldn't have liked it. They would have booed because we already saw there was a draw earlier in the night. We'll get to that one.
When Onama was losing the second round, because I was like, maybe because the first round was a big round for him.
First round was it was flirting with it, but it didn't go there.
It didn't get there, but
he started losing momentum late too, which really hurt.
I thought for anyone in the betting community, like the live bet draw was live.
Okay.
Like I thought, like anyone that would, I have not bet on any fights since attending the conference. So
okay,
anyone that was doing that, I was like, live draw is probably where to go here.
Well, it would have lost, obviously.
It would have lost, yeah,
but
it was in play.
Sound thought. I understand. Moving on though, there were two split decisions. We're gonna do these back to back, starting with I think the one that probably more people were a little more up in arms about, which was the heavyweight fight, Martin Boudet. Getting the winner over Yukas Bresky.
Listen, I don't know what
I am.
We
terrible
needed John
with
Anik on this one. We really needed John Anik because the commentary team sometimes pronounced it with a D. I don't know how BRZ becomes DZ or DRZ.
You know, Polish pronunciations are very different. I don't even pretend to know exactly how it works. So I just respect the fact that I don't know, and that I'm open to someone telling me the right way.
Yeah, John Anik should have told us.
It would have been helpful, but. Yeah, this fight, split decision, kind of the natural 29-28 both ways. Round 2 is our split round here. So why are we talking about this as the potential swing?
I mean, it's one of the swing. It's on the whole, this is a pretty technical heavyweight fight. I think
it wasn't a bad heavyweight fight. You know,
it wasn't just a slobber knocker.
It's one that I would concede was a perfectly fine 3-round heavyweight fight. And you know how I feel. 1-round heavyweight fights are enough.
Yeah, schedule them for 1.
Yeah. Or less. Just do 4 minutes even.
Yeah, so
but no, this was this is a good fight. Keep going.
I think Ring of Comment used to do 4 rounds.
IFL used to do 4 rounds. The International Fight League.
Good times.
I was talking with Jake Ellenberg about that one recently. Not the rounds, but the IFL in general.
Yeah, was he there when Dan Miller made the guy listen to his heartbeat?
I don't know if he was at that particular event, but yeah, he was there. He had like one or two. He had one or two. I mean, I think he did fight in Atlantic City, so maybe. Anyway, round 2. Let's focus here, sir. IFL was a long time ago.
Yeah, Bresky, that's what I'm going to call him.
That's fine.
Just
settle in something.
Definitely winning in terms of total lands, but I think they aren't the strongest of strikes. He has a couple nice straight rights and some jabs. and straights to the body, and even maybe a couple leg kicks don't appear that effective to me. I think Boudet landed heavier, especially in the head strikes, and he had three really strong leg kicks, I thought. Really good immediate impact on those, and when he landed to the head, I think they were noticeably more impactful. I think Bresky caught a lot of glove for his head strikes. He was the more diverse striker. Definitely had the volume edge, but I favor Boudet. This is really a round where volume versus power, I think.
So I'm going to admit something to you here. I wasn't entirely listening to you while you were talking because I got sidetracked in my head thinking to myself that, you know what, Martin, Shake Your Boudet would be an amazing nickname.
Yeah, that would be.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I got on that one, and I kind of just wasn't listening. So you can understand it, I think, in that context, right?
Okay.
There's a lot of nickname potential with
Boudet. Want me to break it down?
No.
Basically,
I watched what happened.
Okay.
I know what happened in the
my
fight.
reasoning.
What? All right, fine. What was your reason?
I thought this was a round of volume versus power, and I went with Boudet for the power.
I think that's fair. I think that's a good assessment. I did go for Bresky, which again, we're going with that as the pronunciation by default.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the volume was enough here to overcome it because they're just, I don't think Bresky was nearly hurt enough by these kind of fewer and farther between lands from Boudet. And granted, Bresky, like when he, especially those kicks, whenever he's like a kick lands on him, he like reacts heavily.
Yeah.
But I don't know that he's always reacting because it's like hurting or because he's like trying to catch it or what he's trying. He is someone whose body language didn't do him any favors, I think.
I thought they were painful.
I thought some of them, especially the early one, there was one in particular early that I was like, that one really hurt. But then there was one later that landed and I was like, yeah, the one he reaches down for, I didn't necessarily read that the same way as that was definitively hurt. I thought maybe he was trying to catch it. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm open to being wrong on this, obviously. My opinion doesn't even matter because I didn't score the fight, right? We're just talking about it. But yeah, it's you can certainly make the case either way. I don't feel that crazy about it. And the funny thing is, like, at the end of the fight, there was the commentator team was kind of like, I don't know about this. I thought he won. But then during the round, they're talking about the impact versus cumulative, which, first off, can we just give like a little bit of a clap here for this commentary team, particularly from Daniel Cormier, talking about this? Yeah, just a little bit of praise
for this one in particular. There's another fight.
What I'm talking about.
There was another fight where he was counting control as part of the duration.
Look,
so
baby steps, sir.
Okay, yeah,
Can we just?
I love DC, and there's no one I want on commentary more than DC every single fight. So.
Listen, I'm a parent, right? So my children are going to make a lot of mistakes, right? As we all did. We were all there, right? So they make a lot of mistakes. But when they do it right, you gotta appreciate it.
All right.
You throw a lot of praise their way, so they think, yeah, it's good. Not that DC's listening to the show, and not that he's meant to be treated like a child because he's an Olympian and a world champion and a Hall of Famer. So even though he hung on the towel,
yeah, I got no issue with the hanging on the
towel. I had no issue with it, but geez, put it out there sooner. Maybe it would have helped Charlie Olives.
Yeah,
normalize it. Could have done it 2 months ago. 2 months earlier, anyway. But yeah, so I had it, Bresky. You had it for Boudet. And Shake Your, of course, got the two judges on his side, Sal D'Amato and Elliot Kelly. I saw it the same way as Mike Bell. I have no problem with it going the other way. I don't. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're up in arms about it, come on, just chill off that. It's a tough thing. Like, where does the line fall when it comes to the cumulative versus the immediate impact? It's a very, very hard thing to place a definitive answer on in a round like this.
The one thing is the Street Fighter power bar. Bigger weapons are gonna take more out of you, but the smaller ones can overtake those big ones.
See, Street Fighter's all about the combos, sir. We're gonna go off on a tangent if we do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat and any fighting game with a power bar.
Sure. Fatality.
Yeah.
No fatality in that way. And none in this one, because, of course, this one was a split decision. Nina Nunes and Cynthia Calvillo. This was one of those split decisions where we actually have 2 rounds to talk about here. So let's get to it, starting in round 2, after Nina Nunes won the first round. What's going on?
Yeah, Nunes is doing well on the feet for this first part of the round. She's landing good with her strikes, good punches, and then Calvillo does take her down. On the ground, Calvillo is doing body, head, pretty much, but she does land a couple good ones to the head. in these little scrambles here, Nunes landed 2 strong up kicks, which I thought they were pretty solid, and I think that swung the round in her favor for me, coupled with what she did before the takedown. 10-9 Nunes.
Yeah, there's not a ton to be scoring in this round, and I think those up kicks really did sway it for me because the immediate impact of them was significantly better than really what Calvillo was able to do, only from guard. Like, it's a neutral position, right? You know, she takes it there, but it's not a high impact takedown, and she's really not landing a whole lot. So yeah, I think Nunes actually really deserves the round here. Same as you. Opposite of Junichiro Kamijo and Derek Cleary, but the same as Judge Chris Crail. So what does that mean for Judge Crail?
Oh, his first couchside override.
Very nice for Judge Crail. Your prize is in the mail, but you know, who can trust the mail service?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Round 3. What's going on round 3?
I thought this was Nunes' best round. She landed some really strong low kicks, solid attacks up top.
Salad or solid?
Solid.
Okay.
Did I say salad?
It sounded a little salad-y.
All right. Well, what are you going to do?
What do you like on your salad? What kind of dressing?
Honey mustard.
Okay.
But a good honey mustard. It has a little bit of spice to it still.
Can I say I just hate salad?
Yeah, that's fine.
I really hate salad.
I mean, I don't seek it.
I eat it when it's given to me sometimes because I try to be an adult. But oh god, it's awful. I really hate salad. It's like eating the stuff that I chopped up in my backyard today. All the vegetation back there.
Nice.
Anyway,
I didn't feel Calvillo appeared to be as effective as Nunes this round. I thought it was pretty clear in Nunes' favor, but obviously the perspective on TV is different than cage side. Maybe what I see as not very impactful looks different when you're right up next to it. I did feel Nunes was the one landed more and better, and that's why I went for her 10-9.
Why are you attacking Derek Cleary here? That was an
attacking.
overt attack.
No attack.
Yes, it was.
I think Aaron Bronstetter pointed out that cage side perspective needs to be taken into account.
No, it's true. I'm just trying to start stuff.
No beef with me and Derek.
Ain't no beef, right? Yeah, I mean, I saw it the same way as you. I saw it for Nunes. I didn't think it was crazy to go the other way, but yeah, it's honestly, this is just one of those women's fights where there's not a lot going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes we get
this
those.
This was a interesting Calvillo fight where she was not very aggressive at all.
Yeah, I don't know
Kind of
what's
away
going
from
on with
her,
her. Who knows? Maybe there's a confidence type of thing here or something, or maybe it's just the fact of understanding what Nunes can do. As a striker, in her last fight, which I don't know who really knew that coming into it, but yeah, she was gonna retire off of this no matter what. She took the gloves off. She knew she was doing even before the decision was read. So good on her.
Yeah.
As she moves into the next phase, coaching and making more babies.
She got some momming to do.
Go have fun with that. If that's what she wants, more power to her. And and she gets to hang out with the double champ again.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I say hang out, I mean be married to. But they're hanging out while they do that. I hang out with my wife. Anyway. Yeah, so I saw the same as you, as judges Kamijo and Crail. So you and I ended up with the same scorecard as Judge Chris Crail.
Yeah, 30-27.
30-27. I think that's perfectly fine. And it's kind of funny because obviously you get 30-27, then you have a split decision. You say, okay, actually it does make sense here. It makes a little bit of sense. Anyway, 2 more rounds. This was another pivotal round actually. Yusuf Zalal against Damon Blackshear, and they fought to a majority draw because of what happened in round 3. After Blackshear wins the first 2 rounds, Zalal back against the wall here. He might even be cut if he loses this fight, right? And he comes out like a monster. So we're talking about a potential 10-8 here. Why? What's happening?
Yeah, well, this one, compared to the other 2 rounds, stays standing. Zalal's landing some good jabs. Blackshear is clearly gassed. And as the round progresses, Zalal is landing better shots as it goes longer. Blackshear is desperately trying to get a takedown. Not getting it. He's absolutely spent at this point. Zalal lands a huge body shot that doubles over Blackshear. From here on out, it's Blackshear just trying to survive. Zalal finishes the round just pounding hammer fists. I think he got all 3 Ds here for a 10-8.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, he totally outclassed him for sure. So there's dominance, the duration of the round. He's certainly, and especially the duration of the damage that he's dealing out at that very end, that high level damage. I think just imagine this was an IFL round and it ends after 4 minutes. I think we're only talking about a 10-9.
Maybe.
I think so, because I don't see the highest degree of damage being delivered. I think it's a
when
a
did
good
that body
strong.
shot
I think it's like a strong 10-9, right? I don't know. I didn't think about it.
That would come into play.
It's true. But I think it's much easier to give the 8
Oh, once you got him on top,
later
he's
on,
pounding him out.
and because of that latest,
Yeah.
when I say end sequence, I mean end of the fight, not
Yeah.
end of the get the finish, right? Because
Right.
obviously we're talking about a round that finished. I think it did get to the point of the 8 here. I think an 8 is a really good score here, and probably a should rather than a can consider,
Yeah, I
in my
think so.
opinion. Yeah. So yeah, and that's where we ended up, of course, getting 2 judges seeing it the same way as us 2 judges and giving the 10-8 to Salal. It was Judges Sal D'Amato and Mike Bell who went that way. Judge Chris Crail went the other way. He only went for the 9. So I'm not sure what he was necessarily looking for here, because I do think, again, it's more of a should than a can consider. But maybe it's just kind of trying to calculate yourself to the compass of what an 8 is. I feel like the 8-9 situation has just gotten so skewed, especially over here in the States.
Yeah.
Well,
that's that they say, right? They were saying going 9 or 8 is what they stress over more than finding a winner.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
yeah. Absolutely. So then in the training you're talking
Yeah.
about, when we went to training.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that's the one where it's much easier to be forgiving about it, unless it's like a total beatdown. Like this, I do feel like this is a should, like I said,
Mhm.
but there are also deeper shoulds, and I don't think this is one that I'm crazy about Chris Crail not going that way. I've seen worse that maybe didn't go that way, and you're like, come on, what were you looking for?
Mm.
I don't know that this was the one I'd die on the hill for,
Okay.
but it's getting closer to it, right?
Yeah.
You definitely want to see this. Should be an 8.
I mean,
That's
also
when it comes down to it, this should be an 8.
Also, Blackshear had 0 offense.
Yeah,
So
yeah, nothing to do there. So it's fortunately, I think it worked out as best as it could have for Zalal, as long as he doesn't get the finish, right? Because he was going to lose the decision unless he got the 10-8 or finished the fight. He managed to get the majority draw. He doesn't need all 3 of them to agree. He just needs to get the 2, and that's how he was managed to get the majority draw here. With Blackshear, of course, had the 29-28 in his column. But yeah, I don't know if it saves the job or not. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I certainly don't root against or for anybody to lose their job, but yeah, it's a tough situation. I wherever he lands, whether it's UFC or not, I think he's shown at least he's got some fight in him,
Yeah.
That's for sure. And then the last round of the evening, this was, obviously it's a first round we're going to be talking about here, so those are always pivotal, but this didn't actually factor into the result of the fight so heavily once it went down. Yasmin Jauregui, I'm going to say it wrong. I'm trying.
I think it's Yaragui.
Jauregui?
Yeah.
I don't know. Either way, also, very fascinating women's prospect here against a different Yasmin, different spelling, Yasmin Lucindo. Unanimous, 30-27 and 2 29-28. So we're talking about round 1 as the split. Why?
This is a lot to unpack in this round, so I'm not going to go for the strike for strike play-by-play here.
That's fine.
What I felt was Lucindo landed the heavier strikes in most of the exchanges. You would see Yaragui get moved off her stance with her lands. Her head got snapped around a bit. I didn't see that as much when Yaragui landed on Lucindo. Yaragui did mix up her targets very well. She attacked the legs while Lucindo primarily headhunted. But I think her shots were more effective. 10-9 Lucindo.
I think Yaragui at least had some heavier lands like early in the fight, but wasn't able to connect with as many of them later.
I remember that the one that sticks out is she pops Lucindo good, and then Lucindo just answers with a bomb of her own.
Yes,
so.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, that is the exchange that I'm particularly thinking of. So yeah, that I'm on the same page as you. We both had Lucindo here, but it is a close round, and it's a fun round too. This was a really nice fight. Like we said before, sometimes maybe a women's fight doesn't always have the most pop and that kind of thing, or maybe this was a good fun fight. Doesn't matter if you're a man or woman. This was a fun fight. I really like this fight, and I like this round too. But we're on the same page. This is a Lucindo round. We saw it as Sal D'Amato and Derek Cleary did. Ron McCarthy was the dissenting judge here. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and like we alluded to, things look different from the cage.
Exactly.
He misses one thing or two things because of positioning. That happens. Ultimately, the right woman won. And I'm very interested in Jauregui. Yaragui?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Just wait for Anik. Anik will tell us.
Yeah, she's got it.
Anik will get it right. But that is it for our contested rounds, sir. We had 7 finishes. Is that right? 7 finishes?
7 finishes.
6 by TKO or KO, 1 sub, and 4 in the first. You're sure this was right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was tallying as the fight was happening.
Fair
so.
enough. I don't know. I
Yeah.
believe you. It sounds so similar to last week. I guess it wasn't because last week was all finishes, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I believe you. I don't know. It's late. What's your favorite of the finishes?
My favorite
And we're just talking about UFC,
yeah,
obviously, right?
Gerald Meerschaert, guillotine choke, clubbed Bruno Silva with a big left, drops him, grabs the neck and finishes it with the John Jones versus Machida grip, minus the face plant. And I thought that was a solid way to win for Gerald Meerschaert.
If I was to have predicted how this fight would have gone, I would have said pre-fight Meerschaert submission.
In round 3.
That would have been maybe. I couldn't say to you that, I thought that I knew what round this would happen in, but like there is something to him kind of having this skill a little later in the fight. Third round submissions are not easy, and he somehow manages to get them.
That's what he does.
Yeah. It's like Yoel, third round Yoel. But knockouts are a little easier to come by, let's say, than a submission once you've passed by the 10-minute mark of a fight. Very impressive. And he's such a fun fighter to watch every time he's in there. I mean, there's certain matchups that, maybe he'll just get kind of smothered and that kind of thing. But if you give him a chance to put the offense out there, he's just always fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was your fight? Your finish?
Oh, it had to be Vera. I mean, that knockout.
That's a good one.
This is now 2 2011 champions, right? From the year 2011 that we're talking about. That he is not only smashed, but like we've now seen a couple of still images produced that the facial expressions that are given to the guys that he's knocking out with his feet are, I don't want to say hilarious because that's disrespectful, but they're fascinating. Just the ripples and like the fact that he just smashed Dom's nose. We don't know how long he'll be out. Like we're saying, just could throw the monkey wrench into Cruz and Edgar if even that would have been in play. But that has to be my favorite finish easily.
That was pretty
It
awesome.
was just so good. I do want to shout out on the Bellator broadcast, though, actually, the headliner. We haven't seen as many good, I know you didn't watch this, but we haven't seen as many, like, let's say, entertaining headlining fights in Bellator. But I was actually looking forward to Neiman Gracie and Goichi Yamauchi, excuse me. And I think it delivered. And also Yamauchi did what I didn't think he would do, which was knock out Neiman Gracie. There was a really awesome uppercut he lands, and Gracie's basically just out. You should find that clip at least.
Maybe.
It's a good fight.
Yeah.
Don't act like a snob, dude.
I'm not.
It is a fun finish.
Maybe.
And this is at least the same level as UFC.
All right.
Yeah. I think it's worth going to find.
Is it better than Josh Quinlan? Because that was an awesome knockout.
Josh Quinlan had a really good finish there too. I think this is more impressive though, because of the caliber of opponent.
Okay.
I think that absolutely has to weigh into it. But it was a good knockout. I mean, they were both good knockouts. They're both fun. Just watch violence is all I'm saying.
Well, if I get
in cage violence, maybe don't go.
I'm not gonna go start. If I don't find it in 10 seconds or a minute, I'll give it a minute.
When we get off of here, I will find it on my phone and I will show you. All right. That is it for the past weekend. Let's look ahead. And briefly, we'll look at what comes before the real main course of the weekend. We'll look at PFL 9, the final leg of the PFL playoffs. Saturday afternoon there in London. Well, afternoon Eastern time. It's always evening over there. But this one's in London, so we'll get, I'm sure, those UK judges. Probably the same gentleman who worked this past one. Maybe someone else. Maybe a Howard Hughes or a Paul Sutherland mixed in as well. Who knows? But we got women's lightweight. We got featherweight. I know you're not particularly interested in Kayla Harrison fights anymore. I know you're not.
It's whatever.
Yeah.
She's fighting. Great.
She is.
I mean, I don't think PFL's too excited about her fighting either. They're putting her on Saturday afternoon. So
I'm pretty sure PFL knows that Kayla Harrison being there is a monster part of their business model at the moment.
Yeah, well, here's the thing: is it's an enormous Saturday. I'm not going to burn out watching PFL and then have to go all the way to 1 a.m.
This is when they do their playoffs, though. This is just when they do it.
Yeah, they could have picked a different time.
No, they can't. It's kind of up to you, ESPN too.
Yeah. Well, that was poor pointing on ESPN then.
ESPN plus getting a venue and all these things. They probably don't. I imagine they would prefer not to put on their fights during the daytime on Friday, which is what I think last week I mistakenly said that it was a Friday event this past weekend. And it was, in fact, Saturday. I'm sure you figured that out when you tried to look for it Friday afternoon and you realized, oh, it's not there.
And when he says you, he means you, the listener.
You, the listener.
Because I was not searching for it.
No, you never are. Because you're a UFC snob.
Hey, that's where the talent is. Yeah. It's where the interesting fights are, I should say.
I think
there's talent elsewhere. It's just there's not interesting.
Look, if you're not interested in Kayla Harrison versus Martina Jindrova or Larissa Pachenko against Elena Kolesnik, fine. But I do think there's some interest, especially the headline, or not the headliner, because Kayla Harrison's the headliner, but the top.
She's not the headliner. There's 4 post-lims on this card.
This
is so
headline
stupid.
Headline is not
this
the last fight. Headline is the top fight. It should be
the people come main event. This is the main event. This is how we close out the night. But no, we got 4 fights after this that people are not even going to stick around for.
You know, I legit actually kind of liked the post-lims when I covered the event, because it made it much easier for them to not kick me out right after, and I got my work done. So it was really nice.
But I mean,
I'm there writing about the main event. Like, I don't need to sit through the other stuff. As someone who's working for the New York Post, that's what I needed. I needed Anthony Pettis and Stevie Ray. I didn't need all the other fights, so they can happen while I'm writing. That was fine with me.
I mean, I'm spending way too much time on PFL right now. But if you have time, if you have time, or you can schedule actual post-lims, then you could also alter the schedule to where they're not post-lims. I mean, I get the John Fitch post-lim that happened, I think, UFC 100.
Yes.
I understand how that came about. That happened because of it went long on accident. It wasn't a pre-scheduled post-lim.
Well, you know, when you say on accident, that was just poor planning on their part, too.
Yeah.
So that's the UFC's fault also.
I mean, these are
But that was like a live and learn situation. They were still, you know, I don't want to say new to the business, but it was 2009 when that happened. I don't think they hadn't had the thing for 10 years now. Now they've had it for close to 20. So, but honestly, the fight that I think is most interesting here is Chris Wade against Brendan Loughnane at featherweight. That's a good fight. You want a UFC caliber fight? That's a UFC caliber fight.
Sure, I'll watch the replay.
And then Ryoji Kudo against Bubba Jenkins is the other featherweight fight. So I don't know. I'm interested in those. I could watch those during the daytime before UFC 278 starts and really takes over, because that's, of course, in the evening. Kamaru Usman, Leon Edwards, the rematch that I feel like really made a lot of sense, like as long as 3 years ago, and we're finally getting.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah. It's been a long time. I was talking with Leon about that, and obviously there was a bunch of things that happened in the interim. There was his event, by the way, when he was supposed to fight Tyron Woodley. Mm-hmm. He never actually fought Tyron Woodley, because that was the first event that the UFC actually lost. They just straight up didn't have that event happen. I think some of the fights ended up getting moved, is what it's kind of escaping me at this point. But yeah, a lot of chaos. Yeah, bunch of opponents that dropped out and all these things over time and just didn't get fights. And there was the weird ending with him and Bilal Muhammad, and just what a weird sequence of events the last 3 years for this guy. But he's finally here. He deserves the shot.
I mean, losing to Nate probably held him back a bit.
Oh my God.
But yeah,
this guy,
he definitely deserves the shot now.
This guy. Yeah, it's I think it's an interesting, fascinating fight too. I actually really do. I guess the question really comes down to is, has Leon Edwards improved his wrestling enough, and is that an approach that Kamaru Usman's going to take advantage of? Because they've both grown as fighters.
We'll see. Usman is always improving.
Yeah.
So,
but when I watched that fight this week, the first fight, Leon did win that first round 7 years ago. A lot of things have changed in 7 years, of course, but that's the thing. It was 2 out of 3 judges gave it to him, and I think me scored at home through modern scoring sensibilities and my understanding of it. I would say, yeah, I think he really did win that first round, but the wrestling took over in the later 2 rounds. We'll see what happens. Is Usman actually going to really exchange with him on the feet? Does he feel like he needs to give too much respect to Leon Edwards striking? I don't know. We'll see. It's an interesting fight, though. I think this is really fascinating. I like the matchup.
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm ready for it.
Excited for it.
This was what we should have gotten a while ago, like you said.
So, and here we are. That is the only title fight on the card, but I think it's a good one to support it, of course. We got the top pound for pound guy, Kamaru Usman, in Utah. This one's in Utah. I can't remember the last time they were actually in Utah. Clue. I know they were supposed to be in Utah when they ended up being in San Diego for John Jones and Vladimir Matyushenko.
Okay.
Which was the last time they were in San Diego before this past weekend. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of funny that they're going one after the other here now. That was a very strange turn of events. But we've got to expect, obviously, they're going to bring in top judges. That's just what the UFC will do.
Yeah, we're good.
I will not be surprised at all. But, hey, we had there was a lot of Utah representation at the ABC conference in terms of the regulators and people on the staff and that kind of thing. So, I it sounds like they're very passionate about, combat sports, mixed martial arts in particular, and it'll be interesting to say. They do a lot of MMA shows over there. I think they said they do like 40 MMA shows a year in Utah, and then it's like 9 or 10 boxing shows. So it's much more of an MMA state in terms of the conference. So, hopefully they do get a couple of local judges on there that get a little bit of experience, but I'm
sure there will
hopefully they're sensible in how they schedule it and go with kind of that like the way California's done it. I liked the way Ohio did it, even though maybe don't put them on like the main card. Maybe just leave it to the traveling judges there, where some of these fights are much more important, such as Aldo and Dvalishvili. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
Well said. I think we move on, right?
Yeah, we talked about this one.
Yeah, I guess we kind of handled that one, right? But it is. I mean, it really is fascinating. Marab, when I talked to him about the fight, I asked him, like, do you think about the fact that this is Jose Aldo? He's like, I think it is just another fight, but then when I allow myself to, like I'm like, man, this is Jose Aldo. He's a legend, like he understands, and he's not just trying to put up a poker face.
Okay.
Which, like, when you hear people say, oh, he's just another opponent, like, this is Jose Aldo. He's literally one of like the probably 4 greatest fighters that's ever competed in this sport at this point. I have no problem putting him in like my Mount Rushmore in terms of accomplishment, in terms of what he's done in the sport. Yeah, he could be up there for sure. I have no, like, everyone's top 4 can be different. I'm putting him in there. Who is your top 4? Let's go there real quick. Top 4 of Mount Rushmore. We'll do with
Jim Miller, Dan Miller,
stop.
Nate Diaz, Nick Diaz.
Oh God, you are such.
All right, Demetrius Johnson.
That's fair.
He beats everybody at any size. Mm-hmm. If he was a heavyweight and he had the skill he has,
I'm supposed to speak with him actually in the morning, sir. Like when people are listening to the show, I'll be speaking with him.
Yeah. So DJ, John Jones, GSP, and Aldo probably.
To leave an Anderson Silva.
So I didn't even think of him, man. Wow, Anderson. All right, Anderson. We're gonna go top 6. We're gonna add
Mount Rushmore just gets more faces.
Yeah, they just get 6.
Just continue to deface the Black Hills.
I forgot about Anderson Silva. That's a bad miss.
That's a really bad miss.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I would end up going then. So obviously I spoke off the cuff when I put in my top 4, but I'm gonna confidently say Aldo's in there. I'm going to say GSP. I'm going to say Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. And I might have to say John Jones over Anderson Silva.
John Jones over Anderson Silva.
Yeah, I don't know. I hate doing it.
Right.
I don't like it at all. But I kind of backed myself into that, didn't I?
Yep.
Yeah.
Backfired.
Yep.
What other fights we got on here?
We got Anderson Silva against... No, I'm kidding. Paulo Costa against Luke Rockhold. This is the co-main event, actually.
Yeah, I mean...
I like it. I think it's an interesting matchup for both of them, honestly.
Do you think... I mean, Luke Rockhold hasn't fought since 2019, and his first fight's with Paulo Costa.
Uh-huh.
It's not a fun fight.
No, but...
it's fun for us, but it's not...
I think it's interesting because I think the thinking here is probably Costa maybe has, like, a round plus in him to, like, really do some damage on Luke Rockhold. I'm not saying he would, like, totally gas out, but I think Luke Rockhold of the two is the one who's going to be more likely to be fresher in those later rounds, as long as his chin can hold up.
Yeah,
that's why it's fascinating, though.
Has the 3 years helped that?
Why would it help that? Why does his chin improve?
Because his brain hasn't taken damage in 3 years.
But it's still taking the damage.
But it heals. It gets
really
time.
It really doesn't.
We don't know enough about the brain to know if it doesn't.
We know it doesn't get a whole lot better over time.
I don't know. Take some time off. When you get knocked out, you need to take time to let your brain completely heal from that knockout.
No question.
Like 3 years. We got to see, did his brain heal enough?
Yeah, I'm not going to think that his chin got any better in that time. I think really it's got to come down to how well he can protect that chin.
Well, it's going to get tested by Paulo Costa, for sure.
Not necessarily.
He's going to hit him pretty hard.
But is he going to land it? That's the question.
He might, yeah. I think he's not going to get into a fight and not land a single shot.
I'm not saying he's not going to land a single shot, but maybe he doesn't land the real flush shot. Like, look, if you touch Luke Rockhold on, his cheek, is he going to go down? Probably not. He's got to land on the button.
The button gets bigger.
There's a few buttons too, by the way. Hit behind the, around the temple and in the ear or on the chin, the jaw, all these different spots, right?
Depends. The nose.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true.
Toe in the teeth.
It's a good way to. Hey, my son actually lost a tooth yesterday.
Oh, good.
I had to do the tooth fairy thing.
Nice.
I mean, when I say I did, I mean the tooth fairy did.
Yeah.
We know. We know the tooth fairy is the tooth fairy, and
Yeah.
I just sit there and wait around, and somehow $5 is gone from my wallet. Yeah. Do you think that the tooth fairy actually was bringing money? Like, just has like all this like loans, or are they just taking money out of the parents' wallet? Because I think that's probably what it was.
Yeah. The tooth fairy is just robbing these parents blind
It's kind of bold.
and being the hero.
Yeah. That's a
pretty much
load.
what's
That's
happening.
a load. And the only, not the only other fight I'm interested in, but as far as like kind of the fights I'm more interested in off of this card, one that jumped out at me was Alexander Romanov. And I don't normally single out heavyweights, right? But he's fascinating because he's always winning with these like uncommon subs. I don't want to say unorthodox because they're normal subs, but they're just subs we don't always see at the UFC level. Like forearm chokes and key locks and all sorts of weird things that just don't typically happen in the UFC. So I'm curious if he can actually do this against Marcin Tybura.
We shall see.
That's just one I'm looking forward to, and I hope it happens in one round. That would be lovely.
Yeah, I hope. I would like to see another Americana. So.
Or what's like give me like a silly submission like that he could get in a fight. I feel like something better
Ezekiel
than me,
choke maybe.
I mean, yeah, maybe, but I don't know. That's a certain guy's move. You know what I mean?
Scarfold.
Yeah, maybe Scarfold.
Bicep slicer would be interesting.
Yeah,
you win with that.
You know what? Let's go with bicep slicer.
Right.
I want him to win by bicep slicer. I'm not
Okay.
rooting for anything, but if he wins, it should be bicep slicer.
All
That's what I'm pulling for.
That does it for this episode of the Couchside Judges. Thanks for listening. We'll be back again on Monday to break down the weekend's events.
Yes, we will. Maybe we'll have a guest. Hopefully, that would be. We'd like to do that for the pay-per-views.
Yeah, pay-per-views. We like to get a guest. We'll see what we got.
We do. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a wonderful week.
Take care, everyone.